'Twas the night before NFL free agency tampering period. Let's talk about everything Washington has done and everything they plan on doing during this free agency period. Let's get active, y'all. Let's talk about it. What's going on and what it do, Washington Commanders Nation? Is your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. It is Sunday night, March 9th, and it all begins tomorrow at 12 noon. The NFL tampering period, where free agents are able to speak to teams and negotiate contracts that will go into the books officially Wednesday, March the 12th, but it all begins. You know the tampering has already started because by 12:02 p.m. tomorrow, there will be contracts already finished. You know how it goes. Legal tampering. All the illegal tampering have already begun, and there have been so many moves this offseason. There were a flurry of moves made over the weekend. Let's start with what Washington has done so far. We brought back Chris Rodriguez on a non-guaranteed qualifying offer. We brought back Bobby Wagner on a one-year deal. We signed Zach Ertz yesterday. We brought back Jaden's favorite weapon, not named Terry. In an age 34 season, he gave us 650 yards, 7 touchdowns plus, and I will never forget his efforts in the NFC Championship. Yes, I know a game in which we lost 55-23. It'll never be forgotten that Zach Ertz went out and gave us 11 catches, 404 yards that day. 1 year, $6.25 million, 6.25 with incentives and bonuses that can get him up to $9 million. So pretty much a 1 year, $6 million deal that can be up to 9. Remember last year, based on his games played, his catches, and his yards and touchdown numbers, he hit on all his bonuses last year. If we could get one more year out of Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz, would be great, because Jaden loves those guys. Those are the culture setter, fabric guys that have helped Jaden's leadership and have helped get this team to an NFC championship in our first year together. Shout out to having the guys back. Zane Gonzalez, the kicker, he's back in the building as well. We're still waiting to hear from Jeremy Chin, Dante Fowler Jr. and company. But based on Dante Fowler Jr.'s activity on Elon Musk app, that may not be a marriage that we keep going after a 10.5 sack season. He put out some tweets earlier. He's feeling a little disrespected. Those tweets disappeared like a Thanos snap because I'm sure his agent was on his head top. But Dante Fowler Jr. feels disrespected. He says, the disrespect, I can't take it anymore. And he had a tweet that said something along the lines of, hold up, I got it here on my phone somewhere. What did Dante Fowler say? He said, I play half of the snaps and got the same stats of the people y'all be dick riding on. Make it make sense. I'm tired of this shit, and I'm tired of being disrespected. And I assume Dante Fowler, he's expecting to get a deal north of $15 to $20 million a year. And that's coming a year after making $3 million and getting 10.5 sacks and a pick 6 for the Washington Commanders this year, going into an age 31 season. And the reason Dante Fowler may be feeling this way is because shit is happening league-wide right now. The Myles Garrett saga ended earlier today. He just became the most highly paid non-quarterback in the history of the sport and resets the market for about every position not named quarterback. 4-year extension, 6 total years, $40 million average, no trade clause, $204,796,000 total value, with $100 million cash in his first 3 years, $1 million annual workout bonus, $88 million of execution guarantees, and $122 million of total guarantees. And this comes days after Max Crosby got his 3 years, $106 million. And Washington is currently has its name in the hat for the services of Cincinnati Bengals edge rusher Trey Hendrickson, a guy seeking a trade and a new contract. And I'm pretty sure his agent sees this new edge money and he's like, listen, my guy is as productive and a similar age as some of these other guys. We want the world as well. Everything is changing in real time. Markets are being reset. Myles Garrett and Crosby get a bag. Hendrickson's trying to be dealt as soon as possible, and he's going to require a bag as well. I ask you, Washington Commanders, since we are in on Trey Hendrickson, at what number contractually are you out on Trey Hendrickson, and how much compensation? Because they were saying a second-round pick, possibly a third-round pick. We're getting it done before. I'm not sure if it's getting done after we see some of this money that these edge rushers are getting. But at the same time, are you willing to parse with your second-round pick and a contract paying a guy north of $30 million a year? Now, I wouldn't give Trey Hendrickson Myles Garrett money, but there's a conversation willing to be had whether you'd give him Max Crosby money. Maybe $33 million a year. I mean, you're splitting hairs and it's not our money, but at the same time, a 30-year-old, he is versatile, but he isn't as stout against the run as a Myles Garrett. But he is one of those ones at 30 years old. Is he worth it for a pass rusher? Absolutely. And you're probably not going to find a Trey Hendrickson in the draft, not necessarily, but it's an interesting conversation to have. And I think Washington is definitely in the mix. Diana Rossini of The Athletic, who used to cover the team locally, she's been all over Washington being one of the first names. We've been monitoring the Trey Hendrickson situation all season because Washington can desperately use one of those ones. Dante Fowler Jr. had a phenomenal season with us last year. Produced he overachieved the contract he was given here. But there are levels to it. How is Washington going to attack the position? Are they going to put a seat-filling, sure thing, but kind of expensive Khalil Mack type player out there? Are they going to pay for one of these Philadelphia Eagles defensive linemen like a Josh Sweat? I like Josh Sweat. I think he's good. I don't think he's worth the money he's going to get in free agency, but he's an option as well. Or are they going to spend big time and go drop draft capital and a fresh new contract on a guy like Trey Hendrickson? And I see some people saying, oh, but he had a clean sheet versus us. I don't want him because he didn't do shit versus Brandon Coleman. You know who else didn't do shit versus us last year? Myles Garrett. We kept the two possibly best, and TJ Watt. We kept like the three best edge rushers in the league. We kind of had them on Shutter Island. We had them in straight jackets in Northwest Stadium last year and in the jungle for Hendrickson's case. But that shouldn't stop you. Edge rushers aren't going to get sack production every week. You cannot hate on guys that are getting 17, 18 sacks a season. And Washington has never had that type of sack production. Our leading sack getter of all time, Ryan Kerrigan, was a dog, but this is even a different level of dog than we had in that. So I would understand Washington taking a gamble. Or are they going to bet on projection? You know how we, in the draft, we take guys because we project what they're going to be rather than what they were or if they peaked in college. There's a guy like Dio Adigbo in Indianapolis. I hope I'm not butchering that name. 26-year-old edge rusher, 6'6", 280 pounds, and hella athletic, former second-round pick. I think I would rather drop a bag-ish on him than Khalil Mack because that's going up. And I don't think he's going to cost as much as Josh Sweat. And go that route and draft an edge rusher in the first couple rounds if you're not going to go the Trey Hendrickson route. But I think we're going to play out the Trey Hendrickson situation before we make a move like that. There have been moves galore in the past couple days in the NFL. Devontae Adams is now a Los Angeles Ram. The Pittsburgh Steelers not only trade a second rounder for DK Metcalf, but they give him a 5-year, $150 million contract as well. That is $30 million a year for DK Metcalf, who is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. They got the crash out room of George Pickens and DK Metcalf with no quarterback to throw them the football as we speak. So before you're one of those guys judging Adam Peters and writing him off before free agency began, we are in a better situation than a lot of teams right now. The Steelers got a stacked wide receiver room and ain't got a motherfucker to throw them the football right now. Geno Smith was just traded for major compensation from the Las Vegas Raiders. The Seattle Seahawks no longer have a quarterback. Sam Howell's the leader in that room right now. We have it better than so many organizations. Sit back, relax, and let Adam Peters cook, because we still got north of $60 million in salary cap. We traded for Debo, and everybody's talking about, $21 million. Well, guess what? Don't look at the total terms of someone's contract. The only thing fans need to worry about is what a player's cap hit is. And Debo Samuel's cap hit is only $5 million in 2025 for the Washington Commanders. So a 1-year, $5 million cap hit trial, prove it situation for Debo, everybody should be in on that. That's nothing. And it only took a 5th-round pick to do so. But when I look at Debo, I look at DK, I look at the wide receiver situation around the league, it's about that time that we give Terry his money. Go ahead and get his extension out the way, because Jamar Chase is about to take non-quarterback pay into another stratosphere, just like Myles Garrett just did. You know, give Terry his $30.5 million a year for the next, maybe let's call it 3 years extension. And let's get out of the wind on that, because not only does that take care of one of your own and a player we expect to be a lifer here in DC, but what it does is it gives you more money to spend, because when you write guys extensions, the way that void years, bonuses, and guarantees plays out, the cap hit ain't going to be what that total number looks like. So that will add even more money and more funds for us to shell out to free agents, because we still have 25 impending free agents here, headlined by Jeremy Chin and Dante Fowler and Tress Way at this point. They're letting guys test their market. Any guys that we don't get done before this tampering period starts, go out, make some calls, and see what you're worth elsewhere. De'Ami Brown had commented on Dante Fowler's stats with exclamation point emoji, so he's feeling the same way. Let these guys go test the market. I'll never forget playoff De'Ami. If he goes and finds his services being appreciated elsewhere, I'm happy for him. Playoff De'Ami was a godsend for this team. We don't get to the NFC Championship without him. But to sit and act like we didn't see 4 years of non-production from the guy would be a lie. So I see no reason to bang the doors down for players like Dante Fowler Jr. or De'Ami Brown or even Jeremy Chin, but I would like Jeremy Chin back. Jeremy Chin is a very important cog to the machine of this defense that we need to see improve in 2025. But Washington's got options. Washington's got options, and we can let it come to us. Players want to play here. That's what you're going to see over this next week, that players want to sign in DC. Players want to be here, and it's going to be more than for money and compensation purposes. We're a destination now. We have a culture built that people want to be a part of. So, man, what a weekend it was. Diana Rossini also attached us to being interested in a reunion with former right tackle Morgan Moses. Big Mo reunion in DC. It's possible. Tackles are coming off the board. Ronnie Stanley is off the board. He got paid by the Ravens. That's why you don't get too excited about the initial. You don't get too excited about the initial list of free agents, because a lot of these motherfuckers don't even see the light of day of free agency, especially when you look at a position like left tackle. Left tackle's not a spot. If you have a good left tackle, they don't ever hit unrestricted free agency. They're either traded or extended, because that position is too damn important. So you got to let things play itself out. Harold Landry, recently released from the Tennessee Titans, gets a 3-year, $43.5 million contract, $26 million guaranteed, productive, not old. And what is a 43 over 3 years? What is that? Less than $15 million a year. 2 years, $46 million, which is 23 per for Devontae Adams. The Eagles are possibly looking to trade Dallas Goedert. Oh, man, it's been things happening galore. The leading offensive tackles available are going to be the 49ers, Jalen Moore, and the Steelers, Dan Moore Jr. Zadarius Smith was released. There's been so much happening over this weekend. So much happening. And then there's the what is Washington doing? Why isn't Washington doing anything crowd? We kicked this shit off. We opened up all floodgates. We made the first significant move of the offseason when we traded for Deebo Samuel. And we already took care of a couple of our own who are very important to get done before this free agency shit starts. So the people thinking we're sitting on our hands. We're not. We started this shit, trendsetters. We got this shit kicked off in 2025, and you will see us actively in the mix for players over these next few days. And monitor very closely the Trey Hendrickson situation, because I imagine we're going to be one of the last teams on the phone line for his services. Let me know what you guys think. Are y'all willing to pay what it costs to go get Trey Hendrickson? Do you just want us to go? Do you want us to Ron Rivera bargain Bennett, just find some guys that fit for the low and draft some guys? Or you want to do a little combination of both? Because paying that for Trey Hendrickson doesn't take us out the edge market, but I imagine you got your starting edges in Dorrance and Trey Hendrickson if that was the case. I think we make our first splash tomorrow, and I think it's going to be in the secondary. I think it's going to be cornerback or safety. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Charvarius Mooney Ward is our early priority free agency signing on tampering day one, which starts at 12 noon tomorrow. I'm gonna hit that live button around 12:30, and we finna go live for the first couple hours of free agency. And if anything Washington does, if I'm not live, we hitting that live button immediately. Let me know in the comments below what players you're interested in. Make some actual predictions. Who do you think Washington's going to sign? I think a safety like Andre Cisco or Trevon Merritt could be something in the cards as well, because we lack a pure free safety. And yes, I know with the schematics and with how NFL teams rotate, you don't necessarily need that type of safety, but we need a coverage ball safety on the roster at some point, whether that's in the draft or for the low in free agency. But man, let's go. I'm Birdman hand rubbing. I'm excited. I'm ready to get active and see what this team's going to do. This roster is going to look totally different a couple weeks from now, a month from now, or by the time we get to the draft, and our mock drafts can start to make some more sense sometime soon. That's all I got for right now. Just checking in one last time before the fireworks begin. Tampering period of free agency in the NFL starts at 12 noon tomorrow. I will be live on the channel. Give me all your free agency predictions below. I am Rio Robinson. This is Rambling with Rio. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Let's get active.